Hi guys, welcome to Blue Bird Pottery JPS. This is my home studio. This is where the magic happens. Can you believe it? In this little room, all my things are stored. So the kiln is in the garage, and I've got a log cabin where I do the pottery sessions, and I've got a little shed shop that, you know, the campsite people that can come, or visitors, or whoever's in the village can come and just buy them something unique. So today's video, I was thinking yesterday, when I've done yesterday's video, and I thought I might as well show you how I done my jugs from start to finish, basically how I created this, how I made it, and step by step. So this is what I'm going to be doing for you today. And yeah, so let's start making jugs. Step one is I've obviously cut my own shape out and my own sizes. So I normally first do it on a piece of sheet, a paper, and then I will cut it out on cardboard. I normally just use cardboard, whatever off-cut pieces I have, and then I kind of trace it, and then I would write the measurements on here, and for example, the handle size, what size I want the handle to be. Normally after, when you finish making it, then you will figure out what you want to do with your handle on it. And obviously I've done this before, so I know what shape and size my handle should be. The bottom part, I use a circular. This is 5 inches for the bottom part, so you know it will come on top of each other. This size is from here to here, it's 11 inches on top across, and from top to bottom, long way, it's 7.5 inches, and then the bottom part is 15 inches. So I'll put it all in the description, or yeah, I'll make a link up, and then it will take you to this measurements that I'll put on me. Here we go. Okay guys, I hope you can see that. Apparently my place is too small, so I can't take of me and making the jug, so hopefully this will be okay. I'm gonna need a bit bigger. I normally don't wedge my clay when it comes out the bag because it's already kind of wedged. Only if I use the clay I would wedge the off-cut pieces. But what I do is I normally just get this in shape. Try to get it flat as possible. I'm not sure if you heard that I don't actually wedge my clay when it comes out of the bag. So what I do is only the off-cut pieces that it's going to be used again, I would wedge those ones. So this is when I take my design, my pattern, and kind of place it in the middle, and I use just a sharp point, anything at this point that's nice and sharp, and I kind of just trace around it, cut through the clay. That's all you need to do. And then at this point I kind of just fold up my clay, and there you got your jug laid out. At this point I would let it lay for 30 minutes till it get a bit stiff, a bit hardened, not too hard, wet hard, so it can stand on its own once we shape it. Before we leave it to let it lay, I'm going to go and press out the bottom part of the jug. Let me just push that back. You can see the bottom part of the jug. I normally use nice cling wrap. I put it over and then I use this so it doesn't stick. I'm happy it didn't stick now. I'm doing a video. And there you got your bottom part. Just lift it up, let it lay there so it can get dry. So now we come back to this part. Just lift it up gently because you don't want to stretch it. So you wanted to keep its shape and you wanted to keep its the size of your mug, of your jug. You want to keep it. So I've got this little, you can actually use anything. You can actually use this, keep it at an angle to cut the sides. So this is basically where you cut the sides and they fold over each other once you fold it. I can't get to the name of it, but what I'm going to do, maybe you would understand what I'm doing basically. So I'll lay this flat on the side, and as you can see, it gives a little angle to your clay. And then my husband made me this. It's like because the ones that we buy always kind of break easily, like a little scraper on the edge. So I kind of just score. You're basically scratching the edges. So you know when you do brickwork, you have to lay the brick, and you have to use your tools kind of to make lines through it so it can nicely. So I do that. And then I would lift the side up because you wouldn't want to do both sides the same. Otherwise you can't fold it over. So while I'm on this side, just move it a bit in the middle. I'll just give it so I would want both sides to be nice and smooth. And I'll do this. So I've turned it around. I've did that side, and I do the same on this side. And then I'll also score it, give it a scratch. And at this point, you leave them to dry. But for you, I'm doing something special. I'm going to use my heat gun and just gently go over it so I can get to a point where it can stand up nicely. And we'll come back to that stage. So just leave it so for a few minutes. Normally, for me, the thickness of it will take an hour. I'll leave it so for an hour, but I'll use the heat gun on it. Okay, so while this is, I don't want to touch it too much. I just want to move it over, because the more you touch it, the more it stretches and the more it gets out of its shape. Before I'm going to put the heat gun on there, I'm going to just do the handle. So kind of prepare myself for the handle. So this is my secret weapon. And yeah, you kind of just loosen the one side, you can loosen any side. This is the one I use. I've got actually many that have different shapes. So I have many that have different shapes. So this is the one I use, the circle one. And then you get the triangle. And you get these ones also, square, and those ones. But yeah, this is my secret weapon. I'm going to show you how I basically use it. Both sides come loose, so you can give it a good clean. So I kind of just put the bottom one on. I pull the back side out, and because I don't need a big piece for one handle, I'm just going to use a small piece. And it's just put there. So nice. Okay. And then I use the top one, put it back on. Sometimes my clay is too hard, and then I struggle to kind of, and because the clay, when it's dry, it goes in here, so it makes it hard to squeeze. But sometimes you do need that exercise, your hand to keep working. It's a good machine also to keep that exercise in your hands going. So all you have to do is just kind of squeeze and squeeze. But now I need to just click it there because it gets stuck here. So just squeeze, 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 and that's how far it goes. It doesn't go anymore. So I've used my secret weapon, and I'll just give it a gentle press so it can come straight. I give it a knock, a little bounce. What I do is I run my hands through it to smooth it out. Also, I always make, this is a good time to feel if there's any bubbles inside, because you can actually feel it, and you just want to make it look. So this is, I find this simple to do and easier to do also than all the fancy handles. Sometimes you just want it to look elegant than, you know, but you can make it your own way. You can figure out, you can do whatever you want to do. So this is just my way of doing my handles. I have tried doing different handles, but at the end of the day, it just comes back to the one that I'm actually good in doing. So I will just cut the ends off and make sure, I like it to be a little flat on top, round on the sides, and I twist it around, give it a bit of a knock again, smooth it. Let me just get my measure. Oops. And I'm back. So for this handle, I used did I say 10 inches, so on top. And this is where you need to kind of, don't cut it straight. Some people do that if they can attach their handle on properly without any cracks or anything. I like to do it also just slantly, going skew. As you can see, it's just a slant. On the one side it will be downwards. I measure 10 inches from the top to the bottom. I just make a line there, and when I got that line, so this one I went outwards, or yeah, just go down from the top down. And then the back way, you don't do it the same. You do it the same as you're doing this way. You do it this way too, just so. Both sides, you see that side is up and that side is down, as you can see, and this side is going up. So before I do that, you give it a score, nice scratches to it on both sides. And what I do is, because my husband made me this tool, it actually works perfect. You see the rough edges that he done here, I kind of also just squish it out a bit so it's nice and flat, and I do it on both sides. So you got that side, and then you got the back side. So this is the time when I shape it. So this is how my handle is going to look like. Let me just get a board, because this is going to sit one side and it's going to dry a bit. Give it a gentle press, and as you can see, so you see the one side is in and it kind of lines up with each other. Okay, so this I leave one side. I'm going to put the gun on the jug. I'm going to get it nice and hard, not too hard, so I could just let it stand up and give it a shape, and we'll come back to the next step. Okay, now that we've got it a bit dry, the next step is, obviously I have to first put my stamp at the bottom. Once you've got that on, you turn it around. This is the bottom part where your jug is going to be on. Give it a nice smoothness to it, and then give it a nice scrape on the sides of it. And because we've done it on the sides here already, so that's fine. So now let's see if it's nice and hard to stand up. Not it should be like nice leather hard, and just kind of shape it nice. Smooth the edges where it's going to tear. Okay, so what I do is I get some of my just little water or slip. I've got slip on the side. Use my paintbrush and I put slip on both sides. And then this is where we're going to fold it together. Let me just kind of, okay, is that better? Kind of just move the camera a bit just so you can see what I'm doing. So we've got the sides wet. Yeah, just make it nice and wet. Put more slip on where you think it's dry. And then we bring the top part first together, as you can see. Give it a squeeze, shake the top part. Then lift up, turn around, and we do the bottom. Let me turn it aside so you can see. And then we kind of just move that, shape the top part again. Yeah, this is where you need to squeeze it in. I use this part of my hand and I kind of give it a press, turn it around. As you turn it, you can give it a nice whack. And then inside, as you can see, the seam, it's not properly done yet, so I'll just put my hand and just support on the one side, and your hand, and you're pressing against each other. So this is where I kind of clean up all the slip, and then dry the slip off. And this is where you're gonna lay it down, support this, because if you're gonna let go of this part, it's gonna fall down. And what I do is I gently just press on that where you fold it together, give it a nice, so it kind of form into one. You'll have an issue with it if it's too wet. You need to make sure it's not too dry and not too wet, and don't press too hard on top. So I use a sponge and I just gently I'm just that type that I just don't want to see the seam. So I like it to, and as you lift it up, move it side to side, get your shape again back in order. Go once again through it in the inside. Make sure everything looks neat and you can't see it. Once it's dried up, it will look better. Now you turn it around, give it gentle, so it's all neat. As you can see. So now coming to the outside seam, you can leave it there. Some people like to see that fold over seam, but I can like to just fade it together, and voila. So give it one twist, and so now this is the part, as we got it now all right, because we scored this side, we need to score the bottom side, so when we put it together it kind of sticks together. So we score the top part, and you get a nice plank, and you put on the edge of it, you slip again, you got your slip on, and then just put that there. What I do is also, I like to put slip on top of this one, put slip on both. The slip is like a glue, it keeps it together, it wedges it together. Okay, so now this is the part, make sure your bottom is loose. So you got your slip on, you scored, you got your bottom, you scored, you got your slip on, and this is where we're going to gently first just lay it on, make sure all corners are equal, give it a twist so it can stick, make sure all corners are equal, and then I give it a tap on top. So if this is still wet, you won't be able to give it a tap because it will sink in, so that's why you need to keep it. Okay, and what I do is I give it the, as you can see, I move it and bang, bang. That's all you need to do. That's all you need to do. Right, we've got our wheel, and let me just move the camera again. We've got our wheel, and yeah, angle it now properly. Camera set on a bit higher. Okay, so this is the stick that I use to shape the bottom. As you can see, it's flat on the side. You can use this anyhow to shape your bottom. I normally keep this flat part, I keep flat like that. Some you can keep it like that at the angle, you can keep it like that, or you can keep it anyway. So mine is flat first. I first keep it flat, go around to pick up all the loose clay that's around it. Then I keep it this part against the wall of the clay, so like that, and supporting one side, and as you go around you press, squeeze gently, gently, gently. And then it will come off like that. You cannot just clean it off. You just go one time around to make sure everything is good. And then I kind of just smooth it with my hands. So now I use a long paintbrush. Doesn't need to be a feather one. Not hard. You don't want it to dig into your clay. basically just nice and soft. So we're going to do the inside, the corners on the inside. So we're going to smoothen that up and kind of let it join together. So you make your brush wet and you can go rough first. Don't press too hard so it comes out on the side, on the sides. So and then keep it and just twist, twist, make it lay nice. Okay. What I like to do is I use like a little sponge. So if this is the corner inside, I like to press with a sponge and kind of wipe the inside like that. So I know all that loose, the wet and the clay is pressed inside the two corners. So if there's like if the corners are like this, that overlap each other, I use the sponge and I will wipe it. So I know that clay is inside those corners. So this is where, this is too small for my hand, but I kind of squeeze it still in, and as I pull it out, I'll keep this down and I'll pull it out. You don't have to do what I'm doing because the brush done its job already inside, but for me to know it's secure to the bottom, that's what I need to do. So I got my sponge and I keep it at the point, squeeze my hand in. I've got the corners. I use this hand to guide me so I know I'm not pressing too hard, and as I come out, and that's it. I'll give it again back into shape and gently go around again, and as you can see, my edge looks perfect, and oh, you can't see the inside, but the inside looks close and smooth and it's together. Next step is we're going to do the top part. What I do is I get the top part a little moist, just a little wet, spin it around your hand, squeeze it. As you can see, the shape of how I'm squeezing it, like that. So squeeze it. And I've got this other tool. You can leave it like that, that's fine, but I like mine to be a bit more round and perfect basically. So I've got this. I don't know what's the name of it, but I'll put it in the description. Yeah, I found this and then put it on, as you can see, like that. Let me go closer. And then I kind of just move it along. So it's nice and round. And then what I'll do is I've got this little, it's a little leather. Let me just get it wet and soft again because I forgot to keep it in water. So I buy these little leather, dusty leather cloths, and then I cut a piece off, and when it's wet I fold it up in a square, and then the shape, this is how I'm going to put it on here. So as you can see, it has these edges that I need to just smoothen out. I use the leather cloth, and as you can see, my fingers on both sides and the leather's folded over. I just move it around, and my back of my thumb leans down onto the clay, so it gives it also a nice smooth top part, and the sides and everything is smooth. Once that is done, I just kind of smooth it off. Nice sponge, make it all good. So there's it done. This part is done. So what we're going to do is do the nozzle, you know, where the milk or the water or make it into a jug comes. This is nice as a vase as it is, without a handle, without a little spout. This is where I'm going to now shape it. Not shape it, but do the front part so it can look like a jug. And all I do is, this is where I joined it, and I get my finger across. I make a little notch, as you can see there. So I need to dip your finger in the water, and I'm first going to do it my way. So basically I'm going to keep it like this and squeeze it downwards. So I keep it and I pull and I pull and I pull. And I just give it a little water and give it a bit of a shape on how I want it to be. So at this point I kind of just smooth it, and also make sure it's still round, still has its shape. And kind of just press the sides in. What I do is I like to just give it a bit of a dimple on both sides. So there's your jug. So the next part is we're going to attach the handle to it. So I know how my handle's supposed to go. So what I do is I measure this. As you can see, I shaped it already. So my handle, where that seam is, that's where I put my handles. It gives me a guideline. So you can have your handle smaller. You can have a little handle, you can have two handles that touch this part that comes in to touch that. You can have it round, anyhow you want it to be. So I've scored my handles already. So what we're going to do is we're going to score the jug. So that's the spout, or the front part of it. So I'll make my handles just opposite from that. So as you can see, I made two little scratches, and then don't forget to put your slip on, get it nice and wet. And the same with the handles, get your slip on there on both sides. And then we start from the top part. What I'll do is I'll keep it like that. Okay, so as you can see how I'm keeping my handle. Support on the inside where you slipped. Give it a nice squeeze, press, and as I'm pressing, I'm smoothing down that pieces that you made wide onto the handle. We got the top part on. Now we do the bottom. This is where it's going to be awkward. So this is where it's going to be awkward because I like to get my hands in there. So here goes, tiny little hands, squeezing it to the bottom, and do the same. Give it a gentle push, a rub, squeeze it. So again, if your clay was wet, you wouldn't be able to do this. So that's why you need to let it get a bit hard. Okay. And then keep it, make your circle again straight, or circle, not straight, make your circle. This is where you lined up your handle, make it sure this is how you want it to be. What I do is I give it a little squeeze. Okay, I want it to look like that. So I'm going to move this side to side to get it off. Got it in my hands. Make sure the handle is straight on, and it can also lay the sun. So what I do is I've got this little pencil with a rubber in front. It's like rubbery, and what I do is I gently smooth out the handle. As you can see, I'll do it on this side, on the sides also, on all sides. Wipe off the excess of the clay on the brush, make sure it's clean again, and I use this part to smooth out the top part, as you can see, and try to get all the clay in. This is how I don't get any cracks to my handles. Just smooth everything out, get all the excess slip, smooth it nicely, and I do the same with the bottom. Smooth it nice. And then move it along. Oopsie. And I'll do the same also on the inside of this, as you can see. Hope you can see it. Okay. And last of all, I'm double jointed now. double jointed. I use a sponge again and I wipe it so it can look nice and smooth, like there's no handle. Can you see? Nice and smooth is that? So I do it on all angles, on all where I need to smooth it. And as I've got it in my hand, I smooth the bottom part, so it has a nice edge to it. As you can see, the bottom. So I'll just go one more time through it to make sure my handle is properly on. I wouldn't want anything to, then I use my hands to go over it with any scratches. Okay, I'll clean this one and I'll turn this around and I'll put it back on just to make sure the top, oh, that's my heat, oh, and make the handle is right. And basically what I'm doing now, I'm just checking to make sure everything lines up. That's all. So I'm going to put my hand back in here because I need to just push this part out a bit. That's it. And what I do is just smooth my handle out so it can look smooth. The top part again. Use my fingers. I'm just checking. And my dimples, so it's nice and round. I've got my dimples, I've got the spout in front, the handles are straight on. Always make sure your handles are, you don't want your handles to be skew, so you need to make sure it's straight. So as you can see there, as you can see, it's in line with the spout and that side. So at this point I want my handle to keep that shape, and I need it to be flat also. The top part here just have a nice, because it's a bit wobbly, it looks a bit wobbly, it's not right. So I'm going to leave it. What I'm going to show you, let me first show you the finished part. Okay, there's it. Wait, I can move this forward. Silly. Oh no, it's too low. So that's the finished part. The last part is I twist it upside down, give it a little pat, make sure the handles are straight because you want the handle to keep the shape. Be careful now because it's so narrow at the bottom and it's wide on top, it can easily fall over. And this gives you a pretty good portion, pretty good way to show that the spout is also nicely touching. So this is how I would leave it for an hour. By then this will be nice and hard, and then I twist it back around again. So that is how I made my jug. I hope it's easy for some people. It should be easy for everyone if you just follow the instructions that I've done on my video. It's very easy. Once you got your shape and the way you want it to be, just focus on it. Always wait till your clay is a little dry before you shape it. That's the best way you would get the best thing. Not very hard. If your clay is very dry, you will have cracks in them. So you need to have it at a nice leather, wet leather stage before you can mold it into something you want it to be. This will go on my shelf, air drying on my shelf for at least 7 days. I normally make a whole lot before I put it in my kiln. I wouldn't, now with electricity so much, you wouldn't want to just bisque fire just one item. So within 7 days I'll have a lot of things that would go in my kiln to get fired. So it will go for its first stage, bisque firing, on cone 06 for bisque firing, and that's around about 1200 degrees. When it comes out, you can actually decorate it however you want it. Like now at this stage, you can actually carve on there. You can carve a flower or anything, you know, mountains, a car, a bike, anything, animals, you can carve on them. You can actually, once you can also wait till when it's dry, and you can use underglaze paint, and you can paint on there. Then it goes into the kiln for its first firing, that's bisque firing. And when it comes out, you can actually put transfer paper on there. You can paint again the glaze on there. Anything you can do at this stage also, and after it's bisque fired. Once it's bisque fired, it will come out of the kiln, and I will put some decoration on there. I think on this one I'm gonna do, my mind is between daffodils and the blue sky. One lady commented on it, and yeah, I'm thinking of that. Or the other thing is I'm just gonna use one of my transfer designs and put it on there. And then it goes again for its second firing, and that will be glaze firing at cone 6. I would glaze fire at 900 degrees, I think. Yeah, 900 degrees. Or it's twisted around. My bisque firing will be 1,000 degrees, and my glaze firing is 1,200 degrees, one of the two. But once you put in the cones, it will give you the temperature that it will glaze onto. Yeah, so I hope you enjoyed it. I actually like doing it. I think I must just get to know my tools better, because I just kind of just use them. I don't know what they are. I just kind of, oh, if this works right, I'll do it like that. And let me know. I've got 3 other items. Can you put in the comment, what do you want to know? So I've got this little ornament that I made, as you can see, a Christmas ornament, or just, yeah, it's a Christmas ornament. You can basically do any ornaments for Easter or something. So I can show you how to do these ornaments, and or now my new one is I can show you how I did my X and my O's games. Was it nought and crosses? I can show you how to do this one. I don't want. Oh, my next one is the little milk jug. I can show you how to do a little milk jug. You can have it plain. You can. This is where I paint them on. So let me know in the comments what you want me to show you, or I can just simply show you how I do my mugs. Have it. So thank you so much for watching, and thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe. Throw some comments there in. Let me know what you think, and yeah, that's it. Thank you. Bye bye.